All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Before I get too far into this, I'm going to make sure we got some people in the room and you guys can hear me. Because the last time I tried to do a stream in the car, the first time around, there was no audio. We did a quick reset, and then there was audio. So I will wait to make sure that I can be heard this time. Because the topic is definitely important and urgent. All right, I see we got some people in the room because we got a thumbs up. And somebody says they can hear me. Thank you very much. Let's hope it stays that way. All right, so again, if you guys don't know how my routine starts each day, I get up, I decode the sports, I put it out on Patreon, and then if I have some free time, I get out and do the typical public videos, public stream. And I wish it wasn't that way. I wish I could get up and the first thing I could do each day was the public stream, talking about what's going on in the world. That said, there's not a lot of people that support that work. There are a lot of people who care about the sports work, and that is what they do support. So that becomes the priority each day. However, every day I get up, I got text messages, emails, YouTube notifications, etc., etc. And somebody this morning, they send me a video. They're like, Zach, have you seen this about you? And I'm like, oh God, what is it this time? And then I click on it. And I'm like, oh, of course I see this, man. This video's been shared by 1,000 channels since 2016 when it was made. And of course, back in 2016, I'm sure people have been around know, it was back when TFR first started. It was in the probably early weeks of TFR, which started September 2016. It probably was September 2016 that it happened. A call for an uprising in Jeff C. We're doing a stream making fun of my work in Gematria. And, Jeff C. was talking about how dumb Gematria was and the fact that the cabal might be using numbers for weather warfare and to implement earthquakes that might be something other than Mother Nature, and they were having this conversation, and of course I got to hop on there. They let me come on the stream. Well, Jeff C. didn't want me to come on. He didn't want me to come on the live stream. He's like, nah, don't let him on. He's a whack job. And then a call's like, I'm going to let him on. I'm going to let him on and see what he says. And if you've never seen how that goes, the video's out there. You can still find it. But it didn't go very well for them. And again, the very next day, a call for an uprising, had been embarrassed in front of his own audience. He did like a 30-minute video explaining why he was retiring from YouTube. It was too stressful. There wasn't enough support. And keep in mind, he just started earlier in 2016. He was retiring after about 4 months. But ultimately, people thought he performed very poorly, and he made himself look bad, and he looked very unchristian. And again, he's one of these guys that claims to be Christian, doesn't exhibit many Christian behaviors. But anyway, he did disappear from YouTube for a month or two, and then he came back and he produced this video over an hour long with nothing but lies about me. And it was the same time a car crashed through my house, and Montegraph and a number of other people were targeting my work, and Monograph had done this video, which to this day still blows my mind. He did like a magic marker to my YouTube comments, and he transformed them into other things, but they looked like they were posted by me. A call for an uprising took a bunch of screenshots of those false comments and used them in his video to make me look bad. But it was a total dishonest con job to try and slander me when in fact he was just mad that he had performed poorly in the debate where, he attacked my work without merit. So anyway, fast forward to now, people are still re-uploading this video in 2025. And I don't know if it's a call for an uprising, re-uploading it himself on all channels or who it is. But the point is, it's always been a very disingenuous video. So anyway, I saw that this morning. I thought, is the call for an uprising even still out there? Is he still making content? And it turns out he is. And I saw that his latest upload was about weather warfare. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. A call for an uprising 9 years ago was making fun of what I was saying about weather. So I actually watched a call for an uprising video on weather warfare. A clip of JFK at the United Nations back in 1961, talking about the future of weather control. you know where A Call for an Uprising went back and looked up that footage from. You know he's still out there watching. I bring these things up all the time. But I was reading through the comments on his video on weather warfare, and the thing is, everybody in his comment section, because he's another one of these people that puts everything on the small caps, everyone in the comment section is blaming small caps for the weather warfare. And again, see, this is the when you're in that could go against your dogma. And the reality of the matter is, weather warfare was first admitted to in something that happened August 15th, 1952, which is the Jesuit order's birthday, a recurring date in history for wicked things. You know, recently Jesuit-educated Donald Trump's brother died on that day. Of course, Afghanistan's government collapsed on that day after, 20-some years of what Bush, who was the president at the time, referred to as crusades. The gold standard was dropped by that day in Nixon. August 15th, big-time recurring date in history. We talked about how they just paid tribute to this with the latest Cuba blackout, how they said the power went out at 8:15 local time and how it was literally synced with the date August 15th. Again, that's the Jesuit order's birthday, the Society of Jesus. You have all these right-wing Christian types in the community that want to pin everything on small caps. And the reality is there is a small cap connection with the Jesuits. Again, Martin Luther targeted Catholicism and Judaism, which led to the Protestant Reformation, which brought about the Jesuits. But again, rather than just targeting people of that Old Testament faith, it would be a lot more accurate to specify Jesuits. Again, there weren't any founders at the beginning of this nation warning about the small caps, but there were founders warning about the Jesuits and what could happen to the country if they came out of suppression. It's not just a call for an uprising's audience that, and him himself that don't really ever bring up the Jesuits and just stick to blaming everything on this one religion. And again, for Christians to blame everything on this one religion, to me it seems hypocritical, because Jesus was a Jew from Judea. So to have so much hatred for this faith is almost to have hatred for your spiritual leader. Not to mention, your faith is based on Jewish tradition. It's the original monotheistic religion. The New Testament's highly related, but this is the New Testament after the Son of God came to earth who died for your sins. These are related stories. And again, A Call for an Uprising, he makes his whole slander video, says I'm a Mossad agent, which has always been completely false. And again, his highly misleading story, which is just nothing but lies. What I'm saying, though, is it's obvious that A Call for an Uprising is out there being influenced by my work, and this has always been the case. He cannot give credit where it's due. But again, if you really want to see this cabal overthrown and stopped, and I've been saying this since I first got here, people need to work together and collaborate. It's like in this supposed truth community, everybody tries to act like they're all alone, they're the only truth teller, only their information is right, everyone else is incorrect, or you can't give credit to it. You can copy it and claim it as your own work, but can't give credit to somebody else. People remember what happened when I disappeared for the few months that I could not post on YouTube, which was from spring of 2018 to July of 2018. And that's because I wasn't able to post again until I moved to Yakima and got a new phone number, but I'd exhausted 5 phone numbers. If you never lost your YouTube channel, you have to plug in a new phone number when you start. And I was sick of buying, new phone numbers. But I did have to get a new line when I moved to Yakima from the Seattle area, and that's what got me back on the tube. But people remember, in the time I was gone, a lot of people had a lot less things to talk about. And that's because I am one of the most active people. Even if you watch a Call for an Uprising's hit piece in 2016, he's saying I'm Mossad because it's impossible for me to cover as many topics and put out as much content as I do. He's like, look, he puts out more videos than almost everybody per day, and he's not even paid for it. He's not even monetized. It's like, yeah, that's because I was super motivated to expose the evil going on in the world. And of course, a lot of people are watching my content and putting their own spin on it. But anyway, Anyway, it would be nice. It would be nice if a call for an uprising, since his video has been reshared literally like over 1,000 times by 1,000 different people, including re-uploaded as soon as whatever it was yesterday or today. Why not come out and just admit, like, okay, I made all that up. I was bitter at the time. I was embarrassed about how I performed against Zach and how my own community called me out, which did stress me out. Because again, you guys, to this day, the longest video he's ever made is the one about me, and it's nothing but lies. But yeah, again, at the same time, I'm saying is it would be nice if he could come out and apologize, admit that was nothing but a slander piece with a bunch of made-up BS, including copying monographs, edited comments that make me look bad, and say, yeah, you know what, I should give him credit because I have also been influenced by a lot of his work, including the clips I'm showing you today of weather warfare. And oh, by the way, I was making fun of Zach nearly a decade ago about the idea of weather warfare, you know? And it's not just him too. It's you know, the high impact Flixes of the world, he's got 2 channels, Here's the Deal and The Disturbing Illusion. He's another person that I know has been influenced by my work as well as other people. And recently he was giving me a shout out on his channel, which was a positive change. He's saying, hey, I watched that debate with Zach and Jim Bob, and that Bob guy was a real clown, and Zach showed a lot of restraint. That was nice to hear, because normally he's slandering my name too. And again, though, I would like to have a conversation with Brian or even a debate, because Brian is somebody else who the only phrase that ever comes out of his mouth is Zio Banksters, Zio Banksters, Zio Banksters. And again, that is part of what's going on, but it's only a part, and it's not the tip of the spear. Again, the 2 biggest banks in America are Catholic Italian. JP Morgan Chase, where did he die? That's the biggest bank in the U.S., JP Morgan Chase, but JP Morgan, where did he die? He died in Italy by the numbers. The biggest bank in America after JP Morgan is Bank of America, which began as Bank of Italy. Again, who are the original banker? They're the Templars, Catholic Church. It annoys me how much of the supposed truth community only focuses on small caps. Again, they're not the tip of the spear. If they were, we'd be on their calendar. You'd see some leaders in this nation that had been small caps. There aren't any. They do control the entertainment media world in a sense. At least they're in the figurehead positions. But again, even like look at Hollywood. Almost any spiritual movie that they make points to how great the Catholic Church is. And yeah, again, it really is a major problem that nobody talks about the force that founders warned about, that Lincoln blamed the Civil War on, that are clearly controlling the world stage. I mean, we did just live through 2020, the Event 201 simulation of the Cooties 19 and everything that came after that. And literally, the face of that, every face you saw was Jesuit educated. Again, from Fauci to Trump to Biden to Cuomo to Klaus Schwab to Gavin Newsom, etc., all Jesuit educated men. And you know, and the thing about Brian too is I remember Brian actually, like, he took a minute to scoff at claims about the Jesuits by yours truly a couple of years back. And it's like, how can you scoff at that? Again, here I am showing day after day how world affairs on this calendar that are named after a pope are literally synced with the Pope and the Superior General day after day. And again, what small hats are world affairs being coordinated with outside of Israel, where they do sync them with Netanyahu? And again, you learn this knowledge, you can see how Israel literally was a Catholic Jesuit creation from day one. That's why it was born on the date that can be written 14/5, like 145, when there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. Again, just day after day, proof that all roads lead to Rome. Did you see what happened over the weekend on the Ides of March? The club where they say at least 59 people died, including the rapper on stage on the Ides of March. Did you catch that story in Macedonia? They said it was the Pulse nightclub. Sound familiar? Again, just the whole gematria piece, you know? Pulse nightclub equals 74, like the Ides of March is the 74th day of the year. We know killing is 74, rapper 74. By the way, over this Ides of March weekend, did you guys catch what 2 of the top movies are on Netflix for the Ides of March weekend? Sicario. If you've never seen Sicario, it's about how the CIA tricks a FBI agent into joining their cause so that they can operate domestically, fighting the drug cartel. And one of the people that they use for their CIA operation is a former Colombian gangster hit squad guy, because he's like the most deadly assassin there is. And by the way, Sicario equals 74 the big way, 38 the small way, like killing. Again, on the 74th day of the year. And then the other movie that's up there is the, I'm not sure which comic book it is, but Kraven the Hunter. I did see that one over. I've seen Sicario in the past, but we watched this Kraven the Hunter when they go to London. If you watch the movie, when they go to London, they got one of the big double-decker red buses, and what's on the back of the bus? A huge 74, right? Like how in the most simple cipher, London equals 74, like English, like gematria, like energy, like killing, like occult, like Masonic, like Jewish, like Jesus, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables, like Roman. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. You know? That big fat 74 number, like this nation's birthday is 74, and holiday equals 74, as does Independence Day. And the 2 most outspoken critics of the Jesuits, Jefferson and Adams, died together on the same day, on July 4th, 1826. Again, I feel like this knowledge and the history of how this knowledge has been used should be household information in the truth community in 2025, because you can literally use it every single day to see through all of the ritualism. And again, just how these people really do work in numerical patterns. Remember, the word rapper also equals 74. At that Macedonia club killing over the weekend, again, a rapper was killed. And if you run the alphabetic order in reverse, instead of rapper equaling 74, it equals 88. If you measure from the Pulse nightclub shooting to this Pulse nightclub massacre over the weekend on the Ides of March, it was the number of weeks on the nose that is the prime number, that is the 88th prime number. I mean, and again, by understanding this, you can see that these things are being coordinated on a world level. It's not just some random shooter that took out the Pulse nightclub on June 12th, 2016. And that's not unrelated to what just happened at the Pulse nightclub on the Ides of March. Again, to remember the killing of Caesar in 44 BC, when, as we know, kill equals 44, like execution. Making sure I don't miss my exit here. If you guys ever get bored on the road and you feel like redundant road trips, I'm telling you, start a live stream on the road. Talking really does help pass the time a lot faster. But yeah, you know, Brian, you know, especially Brian. Because, again, I'm talking about 2 people right now. I could talk about a lot more, but a call for an uprising, Brian, myself. We all speak against the manipulation by media and government against society. So we all have this in common. Brian and I have more in common because we're not religious. I don't really think a call for an uprising is religious either. He's one of these people that claims to be Christian but demonstrates no Christian values. Like I'd say, Brian seems a lot more Christian to me than a call for an uprising. And I know what Brian and I have in common is we were raised as Christians, but we don't identify with the religion anymore. Again, the golden rule. You take away the golden rule from Christianity, you don't really need anything else. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And, a call for an uprising doesn't do that. But yeah, again, even though I don't really like these people, I could still work with these people because there's a commonality speaking against something that is a lot worse than any of us are. And again, the thing about Brian is, again, just very opposed to the two-party political system that's manipulating so many. I've always been mystified. Well, I guess why some of you on the truth committee want to ignore what we're presenting, because it exposes the major league ritualism of the political parties, and how you can see that they're serving these Kabbalistic masters and not the people they supposedly represent. I mean, right now everyone should be documenting how literally everything Trump's doing is a 47 ritual, everything. And he's getting so much credit from his base for some of these things, where if they saw that he was really just a puppet on strings performing rituals, they might be like, well, wait a minute, who's really standing behind him? Why is everything he's doing so perfect and a tribute to 47? Again, he's out of the WHO. People love that. But what day was the WHO established? 4/7. He's imposing these tariffs, which again, if people were more educated, they'd understand why tariffs are banned. But in Gematria, tariffs equals 47, and it's not just that, it's the fact that he literally imposed the tariffs exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing of Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, the most well-known book from the father of economics that was born the same year this country was, where again, you're a business school student, you've heard from your, and I didn't even say a business school student, when I was in high school we learned about who Adam Smith was. I'm amazed how so many people don't know who Adam Smith is at this day and age. I don't know, I haven't been in the public school teaching since 2011. It was the 2010-2011 school year. Yeah, that was the last year I taught in public schools, 2010-2011, because I was teaching in private school. My last year in teaching, 2011-2012. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in a public school. I don't know what the curriculum is anymore, but it does seem that almost nobody knows who Adam Smith is, which seems like once upon a time would have been impossible not to know. And perhaps this is why, so that people just don't see the mockery that's being put up on him. But Adam Smith, the father of economics, who wrote Wealth of Nations, talking about bad practice in economics, where at the very forefront of that is tariffs. Again. And remember, when Trump imposed steel tariffs, it was the first time in 47 years. That was the last time he was around. And remember, the steel tariffs hadn't been imposed since Nixon on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 1971. Then Trump does it in March of 2018, and now he does it again March of this year by the numbers. I covered that last week if you want to go back and see that video. And again, don't forget that in Gematria, Trump equals 47, like president, like White House, like government, like authority, like Republican, like Democrat, like the letters DC themselves. And again, why? DC's the Masonic city. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. There's a reason they use this Kabbalistic knowledge and the same repetitive number patterns. The word Christian is 47, like authority is 47, like Vatican's 47. Again, just such a recurring number. The first Super Bowl season was the 47th season of the NFL. The first Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday was Super Bowl 58. How many points in the game? 47. On the date 2/11, the 47th prime, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, who won that Super Bowl. The Super Bowls they'd been in together, by the end of the Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday, there'd been 211 points scored in the Super Bowls they performed in, you know. And again, I mean, some people come back to a call for an uprising. He was making fun of weather warfare a decade ago. He was making fun of the idea of the sports games being rigged. It's like, if you're some Christian trying to wake up your audience to how sinister all this stuff is, you should be pointing out the same things I am. You know, Super Bowl 55, they got The Weeknd coming down from the rafters with glowing red eyes like a fallen angel. And he's the same guy who flashes Satan on the billboards at his concerts when fallen angel and Satan equal 55, perfect for Super Bowl 55. Brady at age 43 wins the Super Bowl as the GOAT when Lucifer's 43 and GOAT's 43, and they did a very similar thing this year with him calling the Super Bowl. This was Super Bowl 59, the 55th of the modern era. Mahomes and the Chiefs fall to 4-3 in Super Bowls, like Brady beat Mahomes at age 43 in Super Bowl 55. And, a call for an uprising, and Brian have both echoed the same lines about how they've both called me a fraud and said that my sports stuff isn't as good as I claim. It's absolutely as good as I claim. The track record's unprecedented. Again, just another weekend of dominance. Saturday, 18-1 in the NBA and NHL. Yesterday, I gave people 2 games that were definitely coming in. Again, we can't go 18-1 every day. I don't claim that, but that is what we did on Saturday. And yesterday, 2 games. I said, these are the 2 games right here that are coming in. Boom. And they were 2 games where you could have just breathed easy. And there were more games we liked yesterday that did very well too. But again, with this knowledge, you can identify the games. I don't ever like to use the phrase lock, but they're damn near locks. You can see the games that you're very likely not to miss on every single day. Some days those games have great value. Some days they're just a way to double your money or a little bit better, like what you could have done yesterday. But again, this isn't fraudulent. You can disagree with me using the knowledge to take advantage of rig sports and rig market and rig crypto. But again, that's just because of your dogma. To me, we all have to pay the bills. Taking advantage of a rigged system, putting it back on them, that's not evil to me. I don't see that as evil, and I don't educate people on how to go out and bet the house and lose your livelihood. I educate how to be smart with your money and turn a $5 bill into $100, turn $1 into $100. Again, gentlemen in our community have turned $1 into over $1,000 multiple times. That's the power of this knowledge. You don't see any other community doing that ever. The knowledge that we're putting out is just that, knowledge, and it has a diversity of uses. It's like the ultimate, I said Swiss Army knife, and somebody got mad. There's better knives than the Swiss Army knife. I'm just making the point that a Swiss Army knife is a tool that has 100 purposes. So, yeah, there should just be way more collaboration in the truth community. Doesn't mean everybody just needs to talk about gematria all the time, but there's almost nobody in the truth community who's helped ever share this knowledge. You got all these people who should be on board, at least occasionally sharing it, because it would only amplify their message and add more proof of what they're saying. Say what you will about me. I can prove my points almost better than I said almost, I'll say it right now. I can prove my points better than anyone else who's been speaking out about what's going on in this world, maybe ever. I have a better track record of predictions. My work lines up more and more every single day. And again, it's just like things like this weekend. How many times have I educated about 74 in the Ides of March and killing, only for, there to be a mass killing ritual at a nightclub that equals 74 on that day? I do a presentation about what they did with the tornadoes over the weekend, starting exactly 34 weeks after the latest Twisters film came out. What's the big headline in the morning the day after we wake up? 34 people are dead from the tornadoes. What everyone was syndicating that morning. 34 dead from the tornadoes. This stuff goes on every day in this community. Like, I don't know how you could be on the fence and then witness this stuff and be like, well, maybe that's a coincidence too. Remember, they put out that Twisters movie on the 201st day of the leap year. What's weather control equal? 201, just like the Jesuit order. Going with the first act of weather warfare being admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday. Going with Lyndon Johnson saying who controls the weather controls the world at Holy Cross, speaking about the future of weather control 201 days after JFK's assassination. If I remember right, it was June 10th, 1964. And I did learn that he actually used that phrase, who controls the weather controls the world, even before that. I forget, it was at a Texas university. He'd said it before. It wasn't the first time he said that. But he did say it again at the Jesuit University 201 days after JFK's death anniversary. And think about all the 201 stuff we've documented with crazy weather over the years. Part of Yellowstone being destroyed on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. The crazy Dubai flood incident last year, 201 days from JFK's weather control speech. Don't forget last year that mega hurricane that did all that devastation formed on the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. On and on and on and on and on and on and on. And I don't think anybody's been talking about this weather control thing to the extent we have for as long as we have, and laying down the evidence. But it is nice to see even the haters who were making fun of it a decade ago now covering it. I mean, it'd be nice if they could also say, you know what, I slandered a guy over a decade ago who was talking about this and I made fun of it, but man, he was right. You know, that takes some real integrity to do. And you know, the guy I'm calling out, you still don't know what his name is. You still don't know what he looks like. However, he's made ample videos making fun of my appearance. Like, how are you going to make fun of another man's appearance when you don't even put yourself out on the screen? So, but yeah, again, at the same time, all of us should be working together, sharing the same information, or similar information, rather than you know, like, that's the thing too about Brian and A Call for an Uprising. I mean, they really do just stick to their guns. They have like the same handful of talking points, and I guess it's fine, but why not add to your repertoire? So. All right, Truth Seeker, I'm where I needed to get to. But yeah, for anyone who ever watches that video, gets re-uploaded all the time, understand, major hit piece, totally false information. And it was done by a guy who was very bitter because he had been humiliated and embarrassed. And, you know, I could put all that behind us. All I need is one apology, one little apology. And yeah, just like I said, man, if you could make fun of it so much a decade ago and now you're sharing it, you should say, you know what? For people who are closed-minded and think this stuff's crazy, I used to too. I used to make fun of Zachary K. Hubbard about this. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Again, thank you to everyone who hits like and the share. Again, this channel is really dead this month. The views are way down. Everything is way down. So if anyone does help reshare it, it's much appreciated because, again, literally the channel's never been more dead. Until next time, everybody. Take care.